So we have the final version of the new Dodge Charger, the new 2024 Dodge Charger, and the Fraxonic sound chamber that mimics a V8 exhaust sound. Dodge has claimed that this car will be louder than a Hellcat. However, when this video was released, the only thing we heard was a lot of tire screeching. If Dodge claims this car is going to be louder than the Hellcat, why did tire screeching overpower the sound of the car? We have all heard cars doing donuts, burnouts, and things of that nature, and that supercharger whine, that engine exhaust note, all that stuff overpowers the tire screeching by a lot. So why in this case didn't that happen? What went wrong here? Let's dissect this video. I'm going to show you exactly why the tire screeching was way louder than the exhaust note. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Today's video is brought to you by CarLock, the world's best GPS tracking and alert system. With CarLock, you'll be able to get various alerts to monitor your car, such as vehicle movement, vehicle vibrations, engine starting. The unfortunate event that your CarLock gets disconnected, you will get an alert for that too. You can purchase your own CarLock by clicking on the link down below. That will give you a 10% discount on your CarLock purchase, as well as use my code to get a 14-day free trial with CarLock as well. Get you a CarLock, you deserve that peace of mind. Let's get into the video. YouTube family, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you're new here, we do a lot of car related things on this channel, and you're in the right place for all of that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And for those of you that have already subscribed to the channel and are currently supporting it, I want to say a big salute to y'all for doing so. But let's go ahead and hop into today's video. You see the title and you see the thumbnail. So as a lot of you have already saw, that Dodge has released kind of the final version of the 2024 Dodge Charger, and they are showing off the Fraxonic sound chamber that's in the car. That's technically not speakers, but it does produce a V8 like sound for the car as it accelerates and things of that nature. In the video, we see the car doing pulls and things of that nature. So I'm gonna drop a few clips right here for you just to jog your memory just a little bit. So there you have it. That is the sound of the 2024/2025 Dodge Charger EV Daytona that will be releasing here soon. And there's still some things that's odd with the sound here. Now, I pointed out in one of my previous videos here that one of the biggest issues with this car when it comes to the sound is the fact that the RPMs and whatnot does not change tone at all. Right, when it does acceleration, there's no change in tone. I feel like it just gets to a certain sound level or certain pitch or whatever, and it just stays there. When we drive these cars or any kind of combustion engine car or whatever, there's variation in how the engine sounds based on how much throttle input there is. So if you're wide open on throttle, you're going to hear a lot more volume. Sound's going to be a lot louder and things of that nature. The car, when it climbs through the RPMs, is going to climb through the RPMs faster. versus if you're light on the throttle, it's going to be very subtle, you know, RPM changes and things of that nature. With the car, right, the biggest issue with this car was when this car was doing the donuts, right? This is the most action we have seen out of this car since it has released here, and this is something Dodge had told us it will be able to do. It will have like a drift mode, donut mode, whatever, some kind of burnout mode, so you can still take this all-wheel drive car and do the hooning activities that we do in these cars right now, right? But there's a big problem when Dodge did all of this. And there's a couple things actually they did wrong in this video. So I'm going to point out the first thing here. I'm going to drop the clip in here for you right now. So the thing with this car, as it's doing donuts or whatnot and drifting and what have you, the car's still in all-wheel drive mode for whatever reason. That's why I was looking at this video, and you know, as it was doing donuts and things like that, the front wheels looked like they still had power going to them. If you look at the front wheels, there's smoke actually coming out the front wheels as it's spinning. And some of the front wheel movements and things like that as the driver is turning just doesn't look natural for a car that should be only rear wheel drive in like a donut mode or a drift mode and things like that, because when you're in that mode you don't need front wheel drive at all. And of course I got plenty of clips to show you guys getting sideways and things like that and what the front tire does. So yeah, they need to fire the driver. I'm not sure why they didn't just put it in drift or donut mode or whatever, because they would have looked a lot more like how the car is currently behaves when it's getting sideways and cutting up and all that type of stuff, right? But the main thing, this is guys, what you guys want to know as to why the car can't overpower screeching tires when it's supposed to be much louder than a Hellcat, according to them, their words, not mine, right? So I'm gonna put the video here. I'm kind of zoom in on this one part on the car here. So as we're looking at the car here, you notice that the camera or microphone, this is where they're getting the footage from the car, this is where they're feeding the sound into, is right behind the wheel. And you know what's right behind the wheel or right in front of the camera or whatever? The tires. So as the car is doing the donuts and whatnot, you pick up all that tire noise, but you can't hear the exhaust because it's closer to the tire than the exhaust. Now, if they would have took that camera, put it around back to where that Fraxonic sound chamber is located, then you would have got a much more better sound out of the car. I'm not saying perfect, there's still some issues, I'm explaining that here. It would have been a better sound versus having it right behind the tires and picking up all that screeching. Now, as the video goes on and the car stops doing the donuts, it kind of straightens up, and then at that point you can hear kind of the tire screeching just simply just cut out, and then you hear the exhaust noise louder than the tire screech. And like I said, by them putting that camera or microphone right there behind the tire, it completely ruined the sound. Everybody that was hearing this car doing the donuts and whatnot on all social media platforms, they were all complaining about, like, all I hear is tire screeching. You shouldn't hear all tire screeching if this car's supposed to be louder than the Hellcat. Now, I get it. I get a lot of people modify their exhaust and things like that. But if you're saying this car is louder than the Hellcat, it definitely should be able to overpower tire sounds. Because I know we all love roasting tires and doing burnouts and things like that. No one wants to hear solely just tire sound over exhaust. But on top of that, right, on top of the tire screeching from the donut mode, the RPMs on that car still sounded odd, right? It sounded like the car was struggling to do donuts, even though clearly we was looking at the car doing donuts. It was doing the donuts just fine. It was losing traction just fine. It was getting sideways just fine. But because of the fact that that RPM just stayed at one tone the whole time, no matter how much gas you gave it. I'm saying gas. It's an electric car. It ain't gas. I guess we just call it the throttle or the big pedal. I don't know. Well, I mean, what do you call that big pedal in a EV car, right? Is it just the throttle? We're gonna call it the throttle. Just giving it the throttle, it never changed whatsoever, and it just makes the car sound odd. Going back to all the flyby clips and things like that, one thing with the human ear and whatnot, like, we judge how fast a car is moving based on the sound that we're hearing. If we see a car moving and we hear that the RPMs isn't climbing up that much or changing a lot, we're going to assume that the car is going slower, not accelerating as fast. But if we see a car and we hear the exhaust really loud and we hear that the car is going up in RPMs really fast and things of that nature, and that's going to tell us the car is accelerating really fast. But because this car has challenges where it doesn't change pitch with RPMs, it makes it hard to understand how fast the car is going. Now, this car is definitely pretty quick, 3.3 seconds, 0 to 60 or whatever. Now, we know the top speed is only 134, but the acceleration is pretty quick, and all-wheel drive cars move out fast, right? Especially electric ones. But the fact that this exhaust note does not change much, no matter how much throttle you give it, it makes the car seem extremely slow. It makes the transmission seem like it's struggling to move the car. It makes the car sound like and look like that the car is barely moving, and makes the car seem like it's like 8,000 million pounds or whatnot, right? So my thing is this: the main challenge Dodge has with this car is that they need to figure out somehow, and I'm not sure this is possible with how they're producing the sound with this car, because I know I keep saying this car has a speaker on the back or whatnot, but it's a sound chamber that's not a speaker, so it's like moving air through it to mimic a V8 sound or whatnot, right? It's hard to, I guess, in some way program that to mimic shifts and things of that nature. So it's not like you can just control when the air moves and whatnot. Maybe they can, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure all the technology with it, but it will probably be more difficult to do with this sound chamber versus doing it with just straight up speakers. Until they figure out a way to have different RPM ranges, sound levels, and volumes and things like that with this sound chamber, then it's always going to sound flat, right? Because the one thing they have to program with this, like if your car is light throttle, accelerating slow, it needs a certain sound level for that. Versus if you are accelerating fast, wide open or whatnot, it needs a different sound level for that. Also, the shift points as well. With these cars, if you're driving normal, it shifts very early in the RPM range because it senses that you're not using all of the gas and whatnot in these cars. And when I mean these cars, I'm talking about the gas version stuff we like right now. But when you get wide open on the car senses that you're picking up speed fast and will hold you in gear a little bit longer, and then shift a little bit later. So those are things that has to program into this electric car to give you that same feel. That's the only thing that's missing. Now, I understand that a lot of you guys are not feeling the car for the sound and whatnot, and it's kind of, I kind of hate the fake sound too, but if Dodge is going to go all in with this sound, and if they're going to say they're going to make the sound like a muscle car, they need to go all in and do all of it right. That is the biggest drawback with this car when it comes to the sound. Like the whole thing that it doesn't change gears and whatnot. I know it doesn't have gears, but I know it's fake for them to add it. But if they're trying to go all in and give you a regular Hemi experience in an EV, then you need to go all in and figure out how to do it. Because other than that, the car sounds like it's slow. It sounds sluggish. That 1 RPM note that they got in this car sounds, what is that? You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm gonna say this again. I get that no one's feeling the fake sounds and whatnot with this car, but if Dodge is saying they're gonna give us this Hemi and this Hemi feeling in this battery operated powered car, then you got to go all in with it, man. So those are my thoughts with that, man. Kind of relatively short video, man. I just want to kind of talk about why the tire screeching was so loud. They need to fire whoever set up that camera. All they had to do is move the camera around the back of the car and you got it. I've done it before when I'm getting sound from my car. If you want an exhaust note, put the camera and the microphone by the exhaust and not by the tires. That was a fail on their part or whatever. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below on the car sound and what have you. I know a lot of people's going to hate it, but some people might like it. Some people might think it sounds good. But to me, they got to fix the fact that it only sounds the same at every single RPM range out there. They got to fix that, right? So go ahead and leave that into the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of car stuff on here, man. We talk cars, we mod cars, we go check out cars, we're riding cars, we do car stuff here. So make sure you subscribe if you made it this far. We will catch you on the next video. We are out. Cut it.